Right, so by now you've watched our video where we've driven from Moore River all the way down the river and finished at the highway. Now from there we've decided to come across and do a beach run. So as you go from that highway rest stop we finished at, we've come across to Gilderton, had a bit of lunch at the Moore River area, and now we've come up out of Gilderton where you can hop on the beach and drive all the way north to Seabird, Ledge Point and Lancelin, as far as you want to go really.
Some big chunks of limestone kept us on our toes throughout this drive, poking up out of the sand here and there, and there were some narrow bits that became difficult to negotiate when vehicles were coming the other way. Then there was the boggy patches that caught me unaware at the worst of times, like when I stopped. In most of the cases, I could just rock the vehicle back and forth, or crawl my way through until I found the harder sand. Obviously, the GoPro is mounted on Bose Navara at the moment, which is also having a hard time with the soft patches. Dylan never has a hard time in soft sand. V6 petrol life. Look at him go. It had to happen sooner or later. Unfortunately, this happened to be in a bit of a dip, so the patrol wasn't crawling out of this one. That Navara is Bo's first four-wheel drive, and the Moore River trip was his first time out four-wheel driving. We really threw him in the deep end to learn the ropes, didn't we? As soon as we finished that snatch though, the patrol got bogged straight away. Time to let some more pressure out. We went down to about 14. After a little while, the cliffs meet the ocean and there's no more beach to drive on. We were searching for a track up and through the scrub so we could get around the cliffs and back onto the beach.
What's the go?
Nah, it's all blocked. There's supposed to be a track to go up and around the cliffs and the reef, but there isn't.
So who's lying? Google Maps?
Google Earth lied.
So what's the plan now then?
Double back and find a way, because we can't keep going. The track we ended up using to get off the beach was good fun actually. And the track through the scrub left us with some great hilltop and cliffside views. How'd you like them views, eh? Yep, it was a very scenic drive indeed. So we thought we found the perfect camp. We've been looking for a long time driving along the cliffs, trying to find a nice spot sheltered in the dunes but not too far from the sea, and we found one and we just started to set up, and then we found a tick, and then we found another tick and another tick, and holy shit, we found 20 ticks in 15 minutes. So we've moved on. Eventually we made it from Gilderton to Seabird. It didn't turn out to be that much beach driving. After we got up off the cliffs, we couldn't find a way back onto the beach. But that's okay, because the clifftop drive was really nice anyway. In Seabird, we met up with my brother Sam and his girlfriend Rachel in Sam's D40 Navara. Same goes for Seabird really, not a whole lot of beach driving going on, but the drive through the dunes and the scrub is really nice anyway. Eventually we pulled out of the scrub into a massive clearing between the dunes.
Due to the lack of vegetation, the ticks had no interest in being here. We would normally set up camp much later than this, but tick-free was too good a chance to pass up. While we set up camp today, I got Alana to film Dylan and myself setting up our awnings. I wanted to showcase the differences between Dylan's ostrich wing awning and my ARB awning. Before we get too far into it though, I just want to say I'm not affiliated with Ostrich Wing and they don't sponsor me. I just feel like telling you about it. Most people would recognise the design of the ARB awning. It's the same as most of them on the market. As you can see, there is no comparison in setup time. The Ostrich Wing doesn't even require that single pole, it's a freestanding unit. Dylan has only put the pole down today just to stop it flapping around so much in the wind. The design is very similar to a Foxwing awning, except the Foxwing requires more poles and guide ropes to hold it steady. Some of the things the Ostrich Wing awning has going for it obviously include its freestanding design, some very thick high quality canvas, and a massive 270 degrees of shade. The downsides? Well, it's obviously bulkier on the side of your vehicle than other awnings, it's a little heavier, and of course for such quality and convenience you're going to pay a bit more. We're talking just under $1,700, as opposed to about $350 for an ARB awning. While we were doing that, Bo found the best use for a kayak outside of the water. Pretty soon we were all taking turns to haul the kayak up the hill, with Dylan up the front and me up the back on this one.
Oh shit! Yeah! Oh, not good! Go to the front a bit more.
And then 3 up, Jake, Dylan and Bo.
We don't have much in the way of food because we were only going for one night originally, but we've made it 2 nights now because we enjoy camping that much. So we didn't have any food, but luckily I found next to the track today a lamb. It was still alive, don't worry too much. But what I did was I managed to get the kidneys out of it. A little bit of margarine in my sandy frying pan. So melt that. Get that into the melted butter. Now, a whole lot of mustard. Dijon mustard, I think. A bit of mustard in there. And red wine vinegar. No, that's not stink, that's flavour. Oh, that's going to be vinegary.
This
That was
vinegar.
a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna sort of stir that until it's really bubbling and kind of looks hot. It doesn't smell so bad. Then we'll put it on toast. Well, I've successfully made the dish. I'm gonna call it kidneys.
Jake, explain what the kidney does.
The kidney filters urine.
Yeah, so you're going to eat perfect urine.
When he read that moment, did he realise it? He was like, urine.
Yeah, okay.
It tastes like somebody got a good piece of toast and boiled mushrooms in piss and popped it in your mouth.
You don't have to. Don't smell it.
It smells alright though.
You don't have to.
It's good, it's food. It's legitimate food.
Not even a little bite.
Is it good, Dylan? If it was a beer,
I'm gonna kiss that man.
you're a bunch of weaklings. These are hard times.
Food is not every day we have food.
Yeah, they try.
It sort of tastes like tapenade.
I have no idea what that is. Sounds fancy.
Like a cheap lemonade. And as Bear Grylls would say, that is good enough to eat.
Just as it is.
Oh, stinks.
That's fucking. I mean, it's good.
That's pretty good.
Oh, smell it, mate.
The aftertaste.
To do it, Dylan did it.
You're all a bunch of weaklings.
Oh no.
That's getting in my way.
Yeah.
Nice big mouthful too.
He's not letting himself after he could watch eat it.
Oh. You take this away.
That's a recipe I definitely won't be putting on intenseoffroad.com. Don't try this at home.
Even the pan has to be thrown out.
Crazy little Star Wars laser cannon bird going off there.
Making some breakfast burritos. Sam's on breakfast duty, but I'm giving him a hand. There's the breakfast queue.
Okay. So, boys, heat it up.
This recipe actually went up on the blog a little while ago. You know the drill. Go to intenseoffroad.com and search breakfast burritos. We wanted to drive down onto the beach for some fishing and a swim this morning. We drove north a little way, but met a dead end at this little beachside shack community. I love finding stuff like this when you're out exploring. A nice little disused shack to the right there with a couple of water tanks, and straight in front of us is an old railway carriage that the bees have made a home in. Off to the left you can see a couple of old windmills standing up but obviously no longer functional. Eventually we found our beach entry way back the way we came, right where old mate here had camped. He came out to watch us tackle the descent quite eagerly. It wasn't particularly steep or difficult, but it was soft, even just looking at it. I knew we weren't coming back up this way. I just hoped we'd be able to head back to the town when we were done and get out there somewhere. We hadn't gone a few hundred metres along the beach yet, but it was hard going, soft sand. It wasn't long before we heard a call over the radio. Bo was stuck, Sam was behind Bo, and Sam had got stuck as well. Dylan got out of the car, I rolled down the window to listen to what he had to say, and even 100 metres or so back, I could smell clutch. The smell was definitely coming from Sam's D40. He'd been trying to get out of the bog in high range and slipped the clutch a little. We all let our tyres down to 10 or 12 psi and put the D40 in low range. But it did not go anywhere. We could put it in 6th gear and it would idle like it was in neutral. Absolutely cactus.
What's he doing?
Digging the mechanics pit. We'll try and get the clutch adjusted a bit. So there's some clutch there. But we need to dig a mechanics pit under the gearbox to adjust it.
Alright, Jake, can you pass me a 16-minute spanner?
Dylan knows this shit, and if there was a slight chance that we could get a little bit of clutch going on, it would make our recovery so much easier.
One.
Worth a shot.
And a 14 mil.
14.
Yeah, and a... Oh, thanks, man. Hey, Alex, what we're going to have to do is put it in gear and just flick the key and see if it goes forward a bit. Where is the key?
Nothing.
Yeah. Alright. Clutch is cactus.
There's nothing left. There's no drive at all, so we've got to flat tow this thing back across the beach. but the first issue is it's not very wide up there. We've got to try and get this car around it, pull it up to a wider stretch of beach so we can turn it around and then pull it back to town because there's nowhere to turn it around.
And would you believe it, the Prado goes and gets bogged trying to get around the Navara. And once we do get the Prado in front of the Navara, we can't back it up close enough without the car sliding down the beach. Here's Bo with the kneeboard, saving the day again.
We flatten the entire beach from there to there and make a path for Dylan's car, and that's about 3 hours worth.
There is a lot of us.
Yeah, that's
a lot of sand. There's like 4 centis worth. That's too
I
much
think
of an
the
angle.
vegetation, putting vegetation from here to there is a good idea.
But it's also very destructive.
Yeah, and
You
takes some
can't
time.
really go and litter the beach with vegetation. Well, we can use bits of broken logs to get things out of like immediate bogs, but we can't rip all the dunes up and make a path.
I'm gonna go get Dylan's axe because I found a giant.
We eventually settled on making a path. The plan was to dig a bit of a trench and get the driver's side of Dylan's car in that trench. A kind of wheel rut, if you will. We only dug about 10 or 15 metres of it so far, but it seemed to be working. So we all lobbed in and dug one massive trench all the way from Dylan's Prado back to Sam's Navara. This took us no less than an hour and a half, I think. We got so bloody close. At this point, Dylan's car is that close to the Navara, we could almost do it with 2 straps, but not quite. That's my frustrated face. I know we've lost this game. That rut is too chewed up. We'd have to dig the whole length again. It wasn't happening this way.
We are seriously running out of ideas on how to get this Navara out. We've been here 4 hours, I would say, just trying all these ideas, sitting there hopelessly. We tried calling the recovery guy. No go. The other recovery guy's out fishing.
We got a couple of cars coming back up the beach.
Really, it's tough. We've got 2 options left, I figure. Right now, we're trying to get Dylan up to Sam to skull drag him out backwards. That's our first option. But he just keeps crab crawling up the beach. We cannot keep him in the ruts. We need to get him back to there. As much as I don't like it, we have to drag this dead weight backwards up the beach. If that fails, we wait until low tide at 5 PM tonight and we try and swing the Navara down to the beach and flat tow it across the hard sand down there. We'll see how this goes.
Now we've got another convoy trying to come from the other way, and we've held them up. They've become bogged in the soft sand there, trying to get around us. Thankfully they weren't too upset. Now obviously, it's important to communicate and try and reach a bit of a plan before you attempt the recovery.
Whoa, what's happening?
Our plan was slow and steady. The Navara's tyres are all down on 5 psi now. We tried a few slow pulls, but we really needed that momentum to get the slingshot effect going with the snatch straps. As predicted, the boggy sand and the slope of the beach sent us straight down towards the surf, which was a bit nerve-wracking. We had planned to stop, but Dylan just kept going, and before we knew it, we were back on the beach up at Seabird.
was the scariest thing I've ever done. I have come through spots like this where the beach is probably that wide and I've had to go through raging surf, but that was nothing on doing that. I was like, Dylan got a little bit too fast trying to get through the bog sometimes, and it got death wobbles in reverse. I mean, if you've ever reversed at speed, you know how hard it can be. I was just looking in that mirror, shaking like a leaf trying to aim for the ruts.
Alright,
But we did it.
you gotta get on your phone because there's lots of messages on that Facebook post you did. Everyone wants to know what's happening. Alright, what was it like doing the death toe?
The death toe, I think that name explains the whole thing. So pretty much, I had to keep my speed up, but for me to keep my speed up, Alex had to really, really cautiously stay in a straight line with my wheel ruts. He did a really good job. If he did end up out of the ruts, he could have flipped the car or snapped the strap or all that kind of stuff. So we did really well. It was good. Had to go through some really dodgy beach spots and up a few hills. We got through and yeah, that was really good.
That is definitely one of my sketchy four-wheel driving moments. But I've got to say, I do enjoy the feeling of teamwork and accomplishment after sitting on the beach down there for 4 or 5 hours. And now it's just the long drive home, towing a dead Navara behind me. We've got to get back down to Perth from Seabird. We're going pretty slow, so yeah, we might be pulling into Perth at about evening. Well, that's it from me for this time. So if you like the video, just go and press subscribe down the bottom there, and yeah, thanks for watching.